Alright, this is Mr. Heath, and we are going to do an assessment review for your assessment. It was the 10th. Excuse me, it was the 5th of October, 2018. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. This one was the Saving Lives One Anti-Venom at a Time. Background music there. Grab this. Alright, so what we're going to do is take a look at the actual question. So it says, a situation. A team has created an anti-venom snake bite antidote. The doctors are creating a mixture that is 1 gram of deoxin, an anti-nerve agent, I just made that up, for every 4 grams of water. Dr. Heath and Dr. Lopez anti-venom team has created a mixture that is 1/4 grams of deoxin for every 1 grams of water. Dr. Heath and Dr. Lopez have both stated that their ratio of anti-venom is just as effective as the other team's anti-venom. So this is the challenge for everyone. And this is a very real world situation, using medicine, using mechanics or anything like that, where you have to create a ratio of some kind of mixture. So it says your challenge. You and your team have been sent to determine if Dr. Heath and Dr. Lopez are correct, and provide the reasoning behind why you determine that Dr. Heath and Lopez are correct or incorrect in saying that their antivenom is just as effective as the other antivenom. The other anti-venom team's venom, I should say there. You will follow the standard answering process. You will use the A, computation, B, answer sentence, C, name the numbers. And you can take care of that up at the charts, some students did. And your strategy, you need all these present in your answer. So computation, answer sentence, name the numbers, and strategy. And this assessment, students were allowed to use their notes, okay? Then after that, there were a series of questions that we'll get to. So let's just deal with the big thing here. The whole anti-venom. So it's pretty obvious that we're looking at a ratio here because we have two things we're comparing. And just let's sort of lay it out real quick here. I'm gonna just do the 3 across. All right, so thing, and we have unit of measurement, and then over here type of, I'm gonna use a symbol for number, and unit of measurement. I'm running out of space, so I'm gonna do it that way. So let's take a look at that real quick. So I have things, unit of measurement, type of measurement, and I'll put my line here, put that right there. Now, do I have to do this to be successful? No, I'm just laying this out for the students. You do not have to do this. So we know that these things here, they are volume and volume. How do we know? Because the unit of measurement, gram, and grams of water, grams of deoxin, grams of water, so volume. So we're dealing with grams, sorry about that, G. And then, well, what's the type of numbers here? Well, for the grams of deoxin, it's actually a whole number. So I'll put the whole number 1 there. I'll put grams. All right. So you'll see the number for the volume for the water. Oh, it's a whole number 2, and that whole number is 4. Remember our measurement units? Grams right there, okay? Now, let's go ahead and set that. That's 1/4. Did I really have to do all that? No. I wanted to lay this out for students who were a little bit confused, because I saw some students using this, and this doesn't really work to help you find the answer. It helps you in terms of understanding what you're dealing with, and that's why I kind of did this. But to be honest, I wouldn't do any of this if I was a student I knew what was happening. So let me go ahead and erase this and show you how I would have, in a sense, actually laid this out. But like I said, I wanted to put this here because I saw some students laying this out, which was a mistake, and I think you can understand why when you see what's going to happen next. And also just to let people know what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with volume because we're dealing with grams of a liquid, and we know the measurement units are grams. We know it's 1, okay, 4 to 1 in that situation. All right, so let's erase all of that. Now let's get to how most students did, and I would have done it as well. So it says we have 2 different types of ratio. We have I'm going to use purple here. We have the Dr. Heath and Lopez. Alright, Doctor. And then we have the other team. We'll just say the other team, okay? So we said for the deoxin, right, we're going to put that in the left column. We'll go over here and we have the water, put that in the right hand column, and we're going to go ahead and copy the same thing over here. So deoxin and then water. Okay, so we have that set up. So let's take a look here. Dr. Heath and Lopez, well, how much deoxin do they have in relation to water? For Dr. Heath and Lopez, 1/4 gram, so the fraction number 1/4. And then for every what? It looks like for every 1 gram of water. Okay. So we lay that out. I'm gonna put some dividing lines. That row, this row. Let's go ahead and just drop 4 rows. We'll go ahead, let's drop 4 rows here as well. Keep that pattern kind of going. So let's go ahead and take a look at the other team. Well, the other team, it's 1 gram, so it's a whole number 1 for the deoxin. And then for the water, it is another whole number, which is 4. So we did this challenge early in the week, so many students knew the pattern to follow. I'm just going to go ahead and use it right now. So the pattern here, and then last but not least, 4 fours. We'll just do that there. And it's no particular reason why it's up to 4 fours. I don't want people to think, ooh, 4 fours, the magic number or something. Actually, to prove it's not, we'll just continue on here, and we'll go 5 fours. You'll kind of understand that better in a second. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to figure out a pattern. Even though this is changing, I'm noticing something is happening on the side here. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4. Looks like we're doing 1/4 plus another 1/4, which is giving me 2/4. So what's the pattern here? It looks like it's increasing or decreasing by what? 1/4. So let me erase this here. Maybe I'll just put some lines, so I'll go boom. And actually, let's do it this way. Like that. Like that. Like that. Like that. And so notice, increasing every time. 1/4. 1/4. 1/4. And 1/4. It can also decrease. So we find out that it's increasing or decreasing the deoxin by a rate of 1/4 a gram. So either increasing or decreasing it. So that's what's happening on this side. Well, we take that same pattern of adding on just the original amount here, then that's going to be 1 plus 1, 2 plus another 1, 3. And I think you get the pattern there, right? So 1 add to itself becomes 2. 2 add the original number 1 to it becomes 3. 3 adding the original 1 to it becomes 4. 4 adding the original 1 to it becomes 5. Once again, 1/4 adding the original 1/4 becomes 2/4. Adding the original 1/4 becomes 3/4. And the original 1/4 becomes 4/4. And the original 1/4 becomes 5/4. What do the 1/4 refer to? The deoxin. What did the whole numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 refer to? The grams of water. So now we have this pattern here. Let's go ahead and do this so you can see. So to keep the pattern going on this side the same as I did on the other one. So there, and then there. And so you can see increasing by 1. So 1, 1, 1, 1. Oops, I put a plus sign. So 1 there. Okay, so we have that. Let's take a look at the other team. Other team, deoxin 1. Well, let's keep the pattern going. Plus 1 plus the original number to the 2, 3. Plus the original value of the amount On the 3, that's going to become 4. If we want to, we can keep it going. So let's do that. Right there. 4, additional 1, the original 1 to it, 5. 4. Now what's going to happen here? We're going to add 4 to that, 8. Then we're going to add 4 to that, the original value to that, 12. Add 4, the original value to that, 16. Add 4, the original value to that, you see 20. So let's see what's happening here, the rate of change. I think you can see it already, right? The rate of change, increasing by what? 1. Increasing by what? 1. Increasing by what? 1. Increasing by what? 1. Decreasing by 1. Decreasing by 1. Decreasing by 1. Decreasing by 1. So the rule here is, looks like that this is increasing or decreasing by a value of 1. Let's go over here. Boom. Boom. And what's the pattern happening here? I think we can see. Let me put the 1 over here. Make sure you understand. So 1 with this one. 1. 1, 1, and over here increasing by 4, by 4, by 4, by 4, 4, 8, going back to the original, 12, 12 plus the original value, 16, 16 plus the original value, 20. So now let's look at this as what we said earlier in the week as a composed ratio, where those two individual things that we see in the rate of increase or decrease happening come together as one whole ratio. So that ratio we have here, deoxin to water. And what was the value of that? That was 1/4 divided into 1. Well, now let's go and take a look over here. Water and deoxin with Dr. Heath and Dr. Lopez. Water and deoxin with the other team as well. So we'll go here. 1, the value of the deoxin. 4, the value of the water. Well, let's go ahead and do some division. I'm going to go ahead and erase this. Go back and rewind if you need to, so I can get some space to do the computation. So we'll go here, and I have 1/4. Not that. I have 1 divided by 1/4, and over here I have 4 divided by 1. So this one, remember, Dr. Heath, and Lopez. And then over here, other team. So let's go ahead and find the quotient. Let's do 81 first. So I go over here, B. I mean, you don't really need to do that, but I'm just going to do a wind up. If you want to go old school, go over there, 4. And we have 4 as our box answer. So we go over here. This involves just a little bit more work, but no worries. So I'm going to do a wind up, so that means 1/1. Let's go ahead and put the division, make sure you guys understand what's happening here. Divided by 1/4. So let's erase this. Let's get the C going. By now we know we're going to go ahead and apply the reciprocal. So let's apply the reciprocal strategy. We do that, that's going to be 4/1. Make you nervous, this fraction times that fraction. Do it this way. All right, go here, D. 1 set of 4, 4. 1 set of 1, 1. Go Tiger Woods, wind it up. Final answer, 4. So I've done all my work. You'll have to rewind to go and take a look at the table of values. That's what we're going to be calling it. I said chart, but table of values right now. So we've done that one. I've also done the division work, and I can go ahead and compare. So let's take a look at this composed unit rate, which is normally called just a unit rate. And let's go over here and take a look at this composed unit rate, or just unit rate. If you look at these unit rates, you'll notice something that's really important. You'll notice that the unit rate for the rate of change between these two, quantities, the deoxin and the water is the same. We have a rate of change of 4. So that goes to our answer question, our answer sentence. So for our answer sentence, we would go ahead and say that Dr. Heath and Lopez were correct. The antibody is just as effective as the one used with a larger amount. And we know that because we look at the unit rate, it's 4. It's the same. Another way you could look at is that if you look at the rate of change that's happening, well, I think the best way to look at it is look at the unit rate though. But if you look at the rate of change as well, you can see at one point, if you were to look at the table of values, you would see that they actually meet up. Let's see, where I have 1 and 4. So I'm going to go ahead and use a student's worker to show you, but notice here, the student has 1 and then 4. And then right there, notice 1, 1 and 4 as well. So he knows right here we have that same thing, that rate of change is going to be the same as well, which means that it's going to be just as effective as the other team's larger dosage, or ratio of dosage. So now that's taken care of. Let's talk about name the numbers. As you look at name the numbers, we realize that we've already named the numbers when we dealt with the chart. So you looked at the chart. If you rewind, you can notice that it'll say deoxin, and it'll say water. Well, that was naming the values that were located inside the table anyway. So you labeled it when you did the table. Also, when you came to the answer, you probably mentioned that. If you didn't mention the answer to, you didn't label the answer as, the dosage or something like that, that's fine. But in future, you want to make sure that we have some kind of a labeling of the answer in terms of the unit rate or something like that. All right, so that's done with that. Strategy, let's talk about strategy. So first thing what I would do is I'd create a chart, I'd label it. Then after I do that, I take the correct values for the deoxin for the Mr. Heath team, which is 1/4 gram for the deoxin, and then 1 gram for the water. And I go ahead and just lay out my pattern and keep on increasing by 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, and then when it comes to water, by 1. I would do the same thing with the other team stuff. So I would, put down the deoxin and the water, put down 1 for the deoxin and the value of 4 for the water, and just follow the pattern of adding on the original value every time. We keep on going down it. Then after I do that, I would go ahead and find the unit rate by dividing the deoxin into the water, and I would compare that unit rate from the Dr. Heath and Dr. Lopez team with the unit rate from the other team. And if you notice, that unit rate was the same. Okay, it was 4 and was 4. And that kind of let me know. And so that would be my strategy. After we do that, I would compare. I'm sorry, I forgot to say compare. And that would be my strategy. Create the chart, lay out the values after properly labeling the chart, and then go ahead and find the quotient, the rate of change between the ratios there, and see if it's the same as the other one there. And if it is, then yeah, it's the same. All right, so this is kind of a rough video. I'm not going to edit anything like this. I know I made some mistakes and misspoken, but it's still a good video. So look through that. That should guide you to help you if you see challenges once again. Oh, and I also forgot about the questions. So